Okay, hi everyone. My name's Sean McCarran. Today, we are talking with Christine VonDerStuck and Stephen Bonora on Genius Hour. Christine VonDerStuck is a fifth grade teacher in the Runnymede School District. Stephen Bonora is a technology integration specialist. So, welcome everyone.
Thanks.
Hi.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. So, today we're talking about Genius Hour, and Christine has actually integrated Genius Hour into her daily practices within her classroom. So my first question is, what made you utilize Genius Hour in your classroom?
Well, we've been discussing the importance of inquiry and getting students really involved in the work that they're doing. And we started with it last year. And over the summer, I was doing some research, and Genius Hour seemed like a great program to try. So we started it in September.
So for the teachers who might not know what Genius Hour is, can you give like your 30-second overview of how you would describe it to someone?
Sure. So it's basically completely student driven. It's an hour a week that they get to research any topic or subject that they're passionate about.
And now, when you first introduced this to your students, did you feel like, were they excited about it? Were that, what was their reaction?
They were thrilled at the idea that they would have complete control over what they chose to learn about, how they could choose to teach the other students about what they've been studying. They were really excited.
What's that process like when you have a student decide on what they actually want to teach other students?
Well, we started in the beginning of the year with a lot of time on developing a good essential question. So finding a topic and then narrowing it down to a question that wasn't easily Googleable. So
Right.
Something that they had to go beyond Google. If they type it in Google and the little box came up with the answer, then it wasn't a question for us. So we spent a lot of time finding those really good questions. We made lists in the beginning of the year of topics or ideas or subjects that the students were passionate about, either things that they loved or also sometimes things that they really didn't like at all and were passionate the other way.
Now, with these topics, did the students have the option of working independently or in groups? Or did you start it off where you had them work in groups to build their skill set?
We started individually. So I helped each student to kind of just get, for the first time we went through it. Since then, I've had a few students who have chosen to work with a partner. We haven't gone bigger than partners yet. Some students prefer to work alone, and then a few have chosen to try with a partner.
Now, looking at Genius Hour, and since we're in the month of March, and this is something that you started with last year, but really started implementing with this group in the beginning of the year, what have been the greatest takeaways that you see in the students doing these projects?
I think the one great thing is I notice at other times during the year, things will come up, we'll read something, we'll hear something, and I'll hear one of the students say, oh, I want to do my next Genius Hour on that. Even more cool than that is when a student hears something or reads something and then turns around to a different student in the class and says, oh, I just saw this, or I just read this book, and I know you really like, unicorns, and that, they kind of learn more about each other, and they sort of form their own little network.
Awesome.
Can I
now, go ahead, Steve.
How many cycles could you possibly get through in a year? Like, how many times have students been able to present?
So far this year, we have done 4 complete presentations. So each student has presented 4 separate topics.
Wow.
Right now, we're at about 2 per marking period.
Now, is this something, how do you integrate this into your current curriculum? So, like, what subject areas do you really pull in for Genius Hour? And then, as a teacher, what type of grades are you getting out of it? So,
Okay. Well, we use the hour as part of our our reading rotations. So each reading group gets 3 20-minute sessions a week, equaling an hour. So that is when they would normally be doing independent work when I have a small group. They're doing research, they're reading, they're understanding, they're then presenting, speaking and listening. I mean, depending on their topic, they could hit standards in basically
All of those areas.
Yeah.
Now, looking at that, when we talk about grades, though, do you count that as like a participation grade, a group grade, a quiz grade, a test grade? How have you kind of worked that into your own grading in your classroom?
Well, they get a participation grade for the work that they do during the independent center work.
Okay.
They also check in with me. We have a Google Classroom that's dedicated to Genius Hour. So every now and then I'll post a question or a Google form asking them, how far are you? How are you going to present? And so they have to answer back. So all of those go in as participation grades. I also have a rubric for their presentation that I use, and I put that in as an alternative assessment.
Okay.
And then I also can give in writing, they can get a speaking and listening grade.
Excellent. What have you found to be the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome?
I think the biggest challenge would be that there are 21 students in the class. So sometimes I'm kind of overseeing 21 different topics. And sometimes they're topics that I'm not familiar with. So I have to kind of do some research on my own to see, are they on the right track? Are they, getting where they are hoping to get?
Now, in terms of having students and making sure that the information that they're getting from online is reliable information, were they given any guidance before going into it as far as what sites to use or what they should be looking for to validate the information?
Well, in the very beginning of the year, this year in 5th grade, in their technology class, the technology teacher spent a really good amount of time going over the evaluation of websites. And she sent the students to various websites, and they answered questions to determine if the website was valid or invalid in terms of research.
Okay, so you were able to collaborate with other staff members on implementing Genius Hour and making sure that students were prepared for that.
Yeah.
Moving forward, what recommendations would you have? I know that this past week, teachers were given an article on Genius Hour that they read across the district. What recommendations would you give them if they were implementing Genius Hour?
I'm sorry, broke up there for a second.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good now.
Are we
Can you
good
ask
now?
the question again? Sean? No?
Oh, wait.
Sean? You there?
I think she's frozen.
All right. Well,
I'm
I can ask. He said, what recommendations would you give to a new teacher who wanted to start implementing Genius Hour in their classroom?
Definitely to do it. Try it. It's really fun.
Nice.
I would say spend the time first with just developing the question. Once they have a well-developed essential question, then the rest of the process kind of works itself out.
And you let students have free range when it comes to figuring out what their question is. You just want to refine that question with them.
Correct. Yeah, I would give them total choice, especially for the first one, to just get them involved in the process and get them thinking.
Very cool. It seems like Sean is still frozen, so I wonder if any of this is being recorded.
I'm not sure.
All right. I think now's a good time to end then. Do you have any last words you want to leave us with?
I think Genius Hour is great, and I think everyone should give it a try.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.